Morning Stampers. Hi, I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and it feels like a Monday to me because I wasn't here on Monday, but I hope you guys are having a great week. Today's Wednesday, and I have a project to share with you that is perfect for this time of year. So we are getting ready for back to school. I know, like, no one wants to hear it, but when we're getting ready, there are a lot of us who I think are those people who love office supplies and going to the store and picking through all the pretty notebooks to try and find one we love, and new pens and new pencils. It's kind of an exciting time of the year. So I thought it'd be fun to do a special notebook because we actually were just collecting school supplies here at our house for this year. And who says they have to be boring? We, of course, have the tools and the things to make them beautiful. So we're today going to take a 10-cent notebook, get them now. Actually, I often buy like stacks of them at this time of year because they're so inexpensive. So grab your 10-cent notebook. If you can find ones with a solid cover where there's like a border around the front, I'm going to show you another project a little later that takes advantage of that. But the thing that most all notebooks have that is super common to them is this neutral sort of chipboard background. So actually today we're going to use this as the cover of our notebook and use that pretty chip because it's so gorgeously perfect for combining with the Cork paper and the colors and textures and stuff from the autumn harvest. Is that right? Harvest Meadow Suite. I always want to call it the wrong thing. So I've got some cards to show you too, and we're going to work on making our notebook. So hey, Lana and Vicky and Sue and Debbie and Elaine and Joe and Carol and everybody who's logging on. Okay, so I'm going to flip you guys down and we're going to kind of get started here with our notebook. All right, so let's see. I can get you guys mostly centered. All right, I really like working on grid paper for a couple of reasons. One of them is that it is definitely easiest for me to stamp on. So I don't know about you guys, but working on grid paper just helps me to line things up. It helps me to get things straight on the paper. I'm really a big fan of working on grid paper. Plus it protects my countertop. And I think you guys can see pretty well with the white background. So we're gonna be using some Stampin' blends today, all kinds of good stuff. So let me pull in some paper. Like I said, we're going to flip this over and use the back of the notebook as a front. Yes, I know it means that things will be upside down, but hopefully people can handle that. So when I'm looking through my paper, I often like to kind of pick out a couple colors that are going to go together. And fortunately, in a designer series paper package, we have no problem with that. So I've got a piece here, and your size for this paper is going to vary. So what I like to do, that's upside down. What I like to do is just take my handy ruler and I measure across, and then I figure just like an 1/8 of an inch border-ish around the edges is gonna be about perfect for us. Now, you don't have to use a whole sheet of paper. You can often use a piece of cardstock, but it's really hard to get around the spiral binding, and I often find that it's just easiest to work with it instead of trying to work against it. Now, my multi-purpose liquid glue, I usually store with the tip down, but I actually am going to use the brush, the scrapey brushy tip this time. And I want to, what I'm doing is I'm just squeezing a little bit so that glue comes through, and the same applies as always. You guys know what I'm gonna say. If you can see it, it's enough. So this is kind of a big gloppy area there. And sometimes I don't squeeze, sometimes I just use the little squeegee tip to push around the glue that I've already got on there. All right, this is an excellent glue for attaching your base layer because you know it's not going anywhere. Just be aware when you stick it down for that first part, you're not gonna get that usual perk of being able to slide it because it's gonna grab across that much surface area. And we want our notebook cover to stay really nice. How many of you guys have made notebooks before for back to school? They make great teacher gifts. They make great kid gifts. We're gonna put an inspirational message on ours. All right, and then I have a couple pieces of coordinating paper. So I just kind of narrowed down my colors from the ones that are included. And don't forget that on the back of the paper is the designation on the colors. So this one says Bumblebee, Cajun Craze, Crumb Cake, Misty Moonlight, and Soft Succulent. So you can always, use those as your sort of little cheat sheet on what colors are gonna look good together. So, all right, so I have a piece of this, which is one of the crumb cake papers. That's kind of pretty, but I think I'm gonna go with the neutrals. And I cut this one to about 6 by 7. And we're gonna kind of do that a little off center. And then I have this piece here of the Bumblebee that's about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 by 7 also. And we're gonna kind of offset that there, okay? Now, for this, I'm just gonna go ahead and use my Seal Plus. It is an excellent strong adhesive, and I'm getting it pretty close to the edges of our notebook because this is something that's gonna go in and out of a backpack or in and out of a purse, or maybe just sit on your countertop looking pretty for a while. Lots of possibilities for it, depending on who is going to be using it. All right, so got that. We're gonna set this off here. And this is actually a really great project to do with kids if you're kind of in those last days of summer and trying to come up with some fun things that you'd like to kind of do together. I highly recommend grabbing notebooks and letting kids make their own, right? Ownership of the project is just always makes it so much more pleasant. All right, now we are going to be working on a focal point, and the Nature's Harvest stamp set is what I'm going to use. So it is absolutely beautiful. Here I have some card examples of it. This one was by demonstrator Mary McCormick from our team. She did a great job, and she did her coloring with Stampin blends, a little bit darker, but really pretty. This one is by Denise Jorgensen, and she used the dies that match this, oops, there goes my cork paper, the dies that match this stamp set to add these sort of extra elements here. So we're gonna do a little bit of that because I love these extra color, pieces. I have and she used the cork, this cork piece here across the bottom. So you're gonna see that back shortly. This card is by Georgia Jaguar. It's super talented. And I'll pull it out because she used the embossing folder. So there's a folder that matches this suite. Here is the embossing folder. I just heard someone the other day, Laura, I think, say that she loves embossing folders. This one is really great texture for sort of rustic and sort of nature-scape kinds of things. It just adds a real subtle accent, and so she's got that there. And then here's the last one. This is by Linda Bowen, and she die cut the shape here, but she didn't actually stamp first. So this is pretty, and then I love the scallops and the way they complement. So there's some card ideas for you. So let's go back to our notebook, and we're gonna add a focal point, but I wanted it to have a little bit more interest. So I'm bringing in the Stitched with Whimsy dies, and this largest one here, is it the largest? Let's see. Yes, the largest one, which is sized to fit on a card front. So that's a really convenient size. And we're gonna go ahead and run this. It doesn't actually cut, it just adds the stitch lines. So you wanna cut your 1/4 sheet of cardstock and run that through, and here we have our stitched dies. Pretty cool, right? Oh, I know, Sue, it's so hard to pick, right? All right, so we're gonna add this, and you can see just how much extra interest that adds there around the front of our notebook. All right, now let's go ahead and stamp our flowers. So I have this mounted here on a block already, and I'm gonna bring in my espresso ink pad and a piece of basic white cardstock. So we'll go ahead and ink this up and stamp it, and then we're going to go ahead and die cut it. So this die set has this match. Now I think that these dies are on back order, but only until August 16th, which is like around the corner. So I would not hesitate to go ahead and add them into an order. And there's a lot coming. they'll just ship a little bit later. If you ever order Stampin' Up! Supplies through my online store, there's a link in the video description. The things that are back ordered wouldn't hold up your order. So everything else will ship right away. You don't have to worry about waiting for those. Okay, so here is, through the magic of television, our die cut element. And I am going to start to do some coloring. Let's move this ink pad out of the way. Is Tanya here this morning? She'll be proud of me for closing my ink pad. So I'm gonna go ahead. I have Daffodil Delight, Cajun Craze, and Misty Moonlight, or not, sorry, this is not Misty Moonlight, Mint Macaron, and Just Jade. So Soft Succulent is in the paper, or in the recommendation for the suite. I don't know why I didn't grab it. I didn't really think about it. So I'm going to go ahead and color with Cajun Craze, which is this really pretty chocolatey orangey color. And I'm doing my first step with Stampin' Blends. So Stampin' Blends are alcohol markers if you're not familiar with them. So that means the pigment in them is carried by alcohol, and that gives them super superior blendability. And the ability to move colors around and so forth. So when you use Stampin' Blends, you want to just use a regular classic ink pad. So these are alcohol markers. This is a water-based ink pad, so they don't make each other run. And my first step is usually to add the base coat, okay, of a single color. And then I go back, or the lighter of the color, and then I go back and I find the color here lines, which are the artist added shadow lines. So they're say here is where it is dark, and they're usually where leaves overlap or petals overlap, or up near sort of the center of a flower where it's tight. And then step 3 is go back and color just a little bit more at the interface there, where things match up, to give them, to sort of soften that line of your blends. Okay, all right. And that really is an easy way to give them lots of texture. I'm just gonna use my dark of the daffodil to do a quick color there on those. And then I'm gonna go back with my mint macaron, and I think I'm just gonna do a real quick color here. So this is the darker. So if you have a really light Stampin' Blend like the mint macaron or the Daffodil Delight, you can kind of decide whether you want to take the time to do 2 colors or if one will serve your purpose. So we have a lot going on in this notebook cover, so I'm not gonna worry too much. All right, so I'll just add a little shading by going back and saturating on the color here lines, and then up under the flowers where the stem would be darker, okay? All right, color here lines are a really fantastic way. All right, so now what I wanna do is place this on here, but I really don't want this white to be quite so stark on the edges. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use a Stampin' sponge or a sponge dauber, but I actually really find that my favorite tool for adding just subtle shading is, of course, my blending brushes. Oh, I forgot to put these in the link, the supply link. So you'll have to add these to your plan. Now, when you use blending brushes, I wipe across my pad to pick up ink. You don't have to press hard. And then I just sort of move in a circle to burnish that color onto my paper. Now, you'll notice that I didn't go directly to my project. I started out here to knock a little extra ink off, and then I'm going on here, and I'm kind of just gonna do all over color, just a little bit to knock that white, bright white off, okay? And where we have there you can see the difference, where we have our Stampin' Blends, our colored markers, that's gonna be no problem for us. All right, so what's next? I always like to give this a little more focal point, and I am just dying to use the Cork paper, which is super, it's brand new. It is from the holiday catalog, the July through December mini catalog, and it is gorgeous. Plus it's real cork, like actual cork. So we could just use a big piece of it, but I kind of want to add a little bit of extra texture. So I'm gonna bring in one of my go-to die sets. This is a workhorse in your collection, the Tasteful Labels dies. And I'm gonna pull out this one here. So when I'm trying to decide which one to use, generally I kind of bring the dies out and I kind of line them up and decide which one is, I think, the best shape for my project. So I'm gonna go with this one and go ahead and die cut a piece of cork, ta-da, through the magic of television, and pop this on here. Now we have a really nice like home base for our flowers that really draws that focal point together. So as we're doing our layering, each layer is like progressively headed towards our focal point and our message. So we want to also use some of these gorgeous accessory pieces. And these are, again, from that Autumn Harvest dies. And this one I think is the one I want to use. So I could cut it from cardstock, but instead I'm going to grab a piece of the designer series paper and cut it from here. And let's decide which side we want. So here is that piece die cut and ready to go. So here's the green side and here's the yellow side. And you know what? I'm thinking I'll go with Bumblebee. What do you guys think? I like the way it brings out the other colors and coordinates with the yellows that are already there. So that makes it really nice. One of my very absolute favorite things about Stampin' Up! Supplies is that everything matches because the colors are all the same. So you know that when you have your ink for your blends, your markers with your Stampin' blend, your cardstock, your designer series paper, everything is gonna be exactly the same shade of yellow or the same shade of red. Anyone who's ever tried to match reds, oh my goodness, you know what a great feat that is. Now, usually I am all about the Stampin' dimensionals on things, but I don't want this notebook to get like hooked on everything in sight. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these things down flat with my Seal Plus because it's so strong. And then I'm gonna tap my glue back this direction. And I'm gonna show you a tip for adding glue to things. Let's see, I think I have plenty of them. When you don't want the edges of the glue to or go everywhere, when your stuff is really narrow, like we have with these special dies here. So I don't want a lot of loose edges because they're gonna get caught on stuff. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and pop some glue on here with my, I'm doing just a tiny bit, popping some glue on here, and I put underneath it, the silicone craft pad is great. I don't have mine handy right now. So what instead I'm using is my Stampin' dimensional backing sheets because they won't hold the adhesive either. So if you have a tiny bit of glue go off the edge, then you don't have to worry about that too much. And I'm just gonna take this now and flip it over. Okay, and set this down. And then this really needs a second to grab. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop a block on top of it. I'll go back here. And by putting this on my paper here, I don't know, have you guys ever used use your grid paper, but then your grid paper gets a little adhesive on it and then everything you're working on sticks to your grid paper? So kind of a easy fix here to just pop some little protection place on your paper. So move this out of the way because I got it a little gluey. And then we'll add our flowers here. All right. Okay, so now I have our glue things sticking down, but we need, like I said, kind of our inspirational message. So there are some terrific messages in here. Good luck, thank you. A reminder to never forget how much you mean to me and so many others. And if you wanted to do just the top of this, you could of course ink it so you didn't ink that last line, and you could just have a reminder to never forget how much you mean to me. And then this one is sending healing thoughts. May nature's beauty bring peace to your soul. So really a great thoughtful stamp set, but not really what I want for my back to school message. So instead, hey Kim, and Hannah's watching from Arizona. Whoo, you got up early. I can't remember what time it is, an hour ahead, right? Or an hour behind? But I got this in your word set, and I wanted to show this one because it's kind of a special stamp set. It is part of Celebration, which is running now through the end of September, where you get the free things. And sneak peek, I'm gonna be showing a Dahlia project soon and a project with the hand-penned or beautifully penned paper. But this one I wanted to show you in the back. It's a host set. And if you have a party or you have an order that qualifies, the qualifying mark is $300, then you actually get this host set in addition to your other treats. And so this has some really great messages, and I wanted to feature it this morning. So if you're interested in hosting a virtual party, that is a really great idea too. My friend Alicia is doing one right now. So I was thinking we might see her or some of her peeps on our video too. So the stamp set it has lots of different things in it, inspirational messages, be who you're born to be, and then things for cards, hope this card makes you smile, just happy birthday, which is always good, sending this card for no particular reason, like we perfectly need that too. So lots of great greetings here, but the one I want to use for this is there's magic in every beginning. And I just thought that that was perfect for our back to school notebook here. And let's see, I realized I might not have cut a piece of cardstock. Well, that's okay, it'll work out. So I've got a piece of crumb cake cardstock, and I picked crumb cake for this because I thought it would blend in a little bit more rather than kind of, if I put Whisper White on here or Basic White, it's gonna be really stark. So I'm gonna grab this and our early espresso that we stamped our first flowers in, and go ahead and pop this on here. Okay, and then I thought, you know what, I really wanna give this a little extra texture, just something interesting. And I'm gonna show you how I use the Tasteful Labels dies again, because this die is actually super convenient, super special. So sometimes I have a flag like this, or a piece like this, and I wanna add a flag end to it, like a little zig. And the trick with dies like this one that's under here, let's see if I can get it out. There, this one, is that if I put this on, then it's gonna cut the paper too. So what you really want is an external V like this, and this one is absolutely perfect to cut like this. So now I can flag the ends with a stitch line and not have it chop the rest of my message. So that would look like this. Okay, and then it leaves those perfect stitches there on the edge. Okay, so this Tasteful Labels dies should be called something like Workhorse of Amazing Labels dies. I really love this one. So again, the link is in the video description. Okay, so let's bring our notebook back in here. We're gonna get our magic in every beginning. Isn't that a great back to school kind of thing? I love that message. And then I wanted to bring in some trim. So this is the trim that is included with the Harvest Meadow Suite. It's called something like Diamond Weave Ribbon. There we go. Because it has this pretty diamond weave. It's like a little mini crocheted ribbon. And I am going to pop a piece across here, I think. And then our label there. Now, so there are a number of ways you can attach this. I think I might actually go ahead and just use my sheets here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put Seal Plus all the way across it. So I'll explain why in a minute. Let's see. I haven't actually done this ahead of time, so hopefully it'll work. All right, so it is. The Seal Plus is sticking to my ribbon, so that's good. Now I went off the edge a little bit here, and I'm not sure if you can see how I went off the edge very well. But what you're gonna do there is you're just gonna fold up that adhesive so that it stays on the part of the ribbon that you want. Okay, and now this is going to run across here, okay? And all of those little diamond places in between where the adhesive is still sticking through, this weave is so dimensional that they are not causing a problem. So it's not like sticky under my fingers or anything, okay? And then this is going to run on top of it. And so kind of like I said, I'm using Seal Plus for everything. It's really strong, and it's going to make sure that our pieces don't like pop off the edges every time you slide a notebook in. So, all right. So that gives us our really cool, oh, no, we're gonna add a little more to it. I can't resist adding some of these amazing dots. And I know that we're trying not to make things get caught in it, but I mean, I can't do it without, I can't go without some kind of gem or sparkle or whatever. So this is a reminder, when you get your packages, make sure you slit the side. You can even take a pair of scissors and cut it, or I usually open it and slit it there. But when you have your embellishments and stuff, this sticky stuff and the flapper are always a mess. So I always find it so much easier to pull it out from the side, because then it's really simple to just pop it back in there. So I'm gonna use my take your pick tool, and I'm gonna do a little slide and stick. So let's see. So I'm just pressing down and sliding, and then popping a couple of these. And I want my little things to focus our message here. So this is sort of our focal point, and then I want them to kind of pop around our message. So you know what, I'm gonna put a couple more on. I'll put one down there and another big one to kind of balance. So if I was kind of making a circle, maybe I'd stick it over here, maybe down here. I'm gonna go down here. There we go. Nah, I don't like that one. Ooh, okay, yeah. Sometimes you can get away with like picking them up and moving them. Let's see. I'm gonna move it up there. There we go, a little closer. Okay, not like it really matters, right? They're just gorgeous. But the brushed metallic gems, metallic dots are adhesive backed, and they come in these 3 colors on the sheet. They're sort of a burnished gold or an antique gold, burnished gold, an antique gold or a bronze, and then this really pretty copper color. So the copper and Cajun craze are amazing together. Yes, and Sue agrees, you always need bling. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope that you are excited about finding some back to school supplies, getting those picked out. If you, like I said, have some time on your hands before and you want to make some special notebook covers, this one was teen approved. My daughter is starting her senior year of high school. And she walked in the other day when I was working on this, and she goes, "Oh, that's pretty." So I call that a win, right? when your teenager likes it, then you're in good shape. But really, you could make these for any occasion. You could make them all kinds of things. And as far as crafting with kids, this is a really terrific project, because basically you just show them how the supplies work, and then they can mix and match and put it all together themselves, which is really empowering, right? I find that grown-ups, we really like to have a project laid out, and we like to, well, most of us, many of us, like to copy it, and we like to have it look exactly like the sample, and that just kind of makes us happy and fulfills us. Kids, younger kids, especially elementary school, they really like the creating. So teach them how to use the tools and you turn them loose, and they come up with some really great things. So thanks, Angie. I'm glad you like it. So if you're just tuning in, you can go back in a second. The video will post and you can check it out with all my tips for making our notebook, including how to attach this paper and how to attach the ribbon, thanks to little tricks. And also remember, because we cheated on our notebook and we decorated the back because we like the tag board edge, if you want to go at the end, I would just take like another piece of cardstock, piece of black, or even another piece of the coordinating, designer series paper, and just cover the back of the notebook so that you have pretty on both sides. So, and then you'll be in good shape. So when next time you're at the grocery or the big box store or wherever you are, grab some of these notebooks for 10 cents. You really can't go wrong, and you'll have them ready. The tip I gave at the beginning was to try to get notebooks that have like a solid color panel on the front so that you can use that frame if you want to, or you can always use the back. So, all right, Margie says, "Oh, you'd save it because it's too cute." No, you're just gonna make a bunch of them. These make great teacher gifts too. Little kind of back to school things for administrators. Everybody needs a little pick me up this time of year as they're getting all excited about going back. So hope you guys will make some of these and share them around and use them, Margie. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. I will see you on Friday with another Maker Mornings with Meg project. And if you need supplies, the link is in the video description, and I very much appreciate your support. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a terrific day. Happy stamping.